The first wave of British volunteers marched off in 1914 with chests out, boots polished, and heads full of glory. But within months, every illusion of adventure shattered. What they faced wasn't the clean, heroic war painted on recruiting posters. It was a grinding machine of mud, fear, loss, and transformation. And the more you dig into their stories, the more you realize just how brutally unprepared Britain was for the storm it had stepped into. This is the part of the First World War most people think they know, but almost nobody truly understands. Kitchener's finger-pointing poster didn't just raise an army, it lit a spark. Thousands of men, factory boys, farmhands, clerks, miners, answered the call with a confidence that now feels painfully tragic. Many believed the fighting would be over by Christmas. They joked about travel, bragged about adventure, and cheered as the trains pulled away from home. Yet behind every cheer stood a mother trying not to cry, a sister gripping her brother's arm, or a sweetheart promising to wait forever. Britain had never seen a mobilization like this, and the emotional cost was immediate. What made this moment so gripping was how ordinary the men were. Most had never fired a rifle, many had never left their hometowns. But in an age where patriotic pride burned hot, volunteering felt inevitable. "It was our duty," one man said later, as if giving up your life was something you just did on a Tuesday. That sense of obedience, almost innocence, was the backbone of Kitchener's new army. But it wouldn't stay intact for long. Training hit the recruits like a hammer. The transformation from civilian to soldier was fast, harsh, and unforgiving. Sergeants barked commands until their voices cracked. Recruits bayoneted straw dummies while imagining enemy bodies behind them. Marching became a daily torment, and the rifle became an extension of the arm, whether they liked it or not. Some thrived, others rebelled. Fights were common, spirits ran high. But the truth beneath the shouting and sweat was simple. Britain was rushing to prepare an army for a war it did not yet understand. While the men pushed through drills, a different revolution surged back home. Women stepped into roles they had been pushed away from for generations. They fueled the war machine, packing explosives, making shells, delivering supplies, and stepping into dangerous munitions plants where, honestly, one spark could send 100 workers to their deaths. Others joined the Red Cross as volunteer nurses, most of them young, inexperienced, and completely unprepared for what they were about to witness. They would soon become the silent backbone of the wounded men's survival. When the newly trained units finally crossed the channel, excitement pulsed through the ranks. Many of the men talked about foreign food, foreign cities, foreign sights. Some had never even tasted saltwater air before stepping onto those troop ships. But the moment they heard the distant thunder of artillery rolling across France, their excitement shifted. That rumbling wasn't a storm. It was the sound of the front line calling their names. Their introduction to real warfare came fast. Flashes lit up the sky. The ground vibrated. The air carried a smell they had never encountered before. The burning metal of shellfire mixed with the thick stench of churned earth. Suddenly, every patriotic speech back home felt small. This wasn't adventure. This was survival. Then came the trenches. The real shock. Mud ate boots. Lice crawled into every seam of clothing. Sleep vanished. Rain soaked every layer of fabric until men felt permanently cold, permanently tired, permanently older than their years. Days felt identical. Nights were worse. The sound of a single German trench mortar could spark a panic because the curved arc of its flight meant one thing. If it landed near you, you died. If it landed far enough away, you lived to breathe another bitter breath. One young soldier was buried alive when a shell exploded beside him. He couldn't move a finger, couldn't lift a hand. Only the wiggle of his toes told him he was still in the world of the living. Rescue came, but the trauma stayed with him forever. Stories like his weren't rare. They were routine. Behind the lines, nurses faced horrors few can imagine. The worst injuries were carried into their stations at all hours. Shrapnel-torn limbs, gas victims choking for breath, broken bodies wrapped in blood-soaked cloth. One nurse was handed a freshly amputated leg in a bucket and told to burn it. She had never seen an amputated limb before that moment. Yet she continued her shift because war didn't pause for shock. Through it all, letters became lifelines. 2 billion were sent during the war. A message from home, sometimes only a simple "I miss you," carried more power than food or rest. Some men lived for their next letter. Some died with them tucked in their breast pockets. And yet, even with the dread, the filth, and the nightmares, bonds between soldiers grew fierce. They became brothers not by blood, but by fear, by endurance, by shared nights, listening for the whistle of incoming shells. Marksmen crawled into no man's land covered in camouflage, lying motionless for hours knowing a single movement could mean death. They didn't do it because it was fun. They did it because someone had to, because the man next to them mattered. This is the harsh truth behind Britain's First World War volunteers. They didn't just step into war. They stepped into a new kind of suffering the world wasn't ready for. Their innocence vanished. Their courage hardened. Their sacrifices shaped the future of Britain and left scars that never faded. And here's the real takeaway for viewers of History's Survival Code. Survival has never been about gear or bravado. It's about adaptation, mindset, grit, the ability to endure the unendurable. These men didn't know what waited for them, but when the time came, they dug deep and survived longer than anyone expected. If you want more powerful stories like this, stories that reveal real survival, real history, and real lessons, hit that subscribe button, share this video, and keep this channel growing. The past still has so much to teach us, and together we're bringing it back to life.